Hi, I'm Lisa from Trails Edge Astrology. This is your March astrology overview. So let me move some stuff around and share my screen, and I will um, let you know what I think is coming this month. So March astrology. Let me put this over here. All right. I'm glad you're here, and I think March has the potential to be a really interesting month. All right. So our agenda tonight, we will talk about the themes of the month. We will talk about the transits and lunar cycles this month. We will do some rising sign horoscopes, just some really brief, like where it might show up for you. And then we'll end, as always, with some herbs and rituals to help work with the energy of this month. So let's get started. All right. So in terms of big themes, one that I wanted to bring up, I got from Adam Ellen Boss, who is a really thoughtful astrologer. Um, or I really like him. I like his work. Anyway, he described this time period and this energy as redesigning the blueprint of your life. So we have some competing energy between like how we think about the ideal and how it shows up and how we grow things and sustain things in our life. And that energy is is kind of forcing us to really rethink how that might look and what we might want that to look like. So I just like this idea of redesigning the blueprint of your life and that and thinking about that as an invitation. What needs to change? What could make things more robust and more productive and more in line with what you're hoping to achieve? A second theme I wanted to bring up is finding beauty in the mess. So we are in Pisces season right now. The sun is in Pisces. We actually have a lot of planets in Pisces and more to come. Um, and Pisces is the last sign of the zodiac. So in astrology, the new year starts with, I'm just gonna make sure I'm actually recording. Yes, I am actually recording. Okay, all good there. So Pisces is the last sign of the zodiac, and the new year starts with the Aries, the sun's ingress into Aries, which happens on April 19th this year. And so Pisces is really all about um, dissolution and releasing what doesn't need to come with you. It's if you're familiar with the lunar cycles, it's equivalent to the balsamic moon. And my good friend Denise Hewlett was telling me that she had watched a podcast, and they had talked about this energy as ambivalent and indeterminate, and so it's just messy. It's not clean and cut and dried. It's not about setting a linear progress. It's about finding beauty in that mess. So that's a real invitation for this time of year. And then the third invitation is clearing space and maintaining boundaries. And I bring that up because this is a time to let go and make room in our lives so that when the sun goes into Aries, when planets start to move into Aries, we are ready for that new beginning and we are ready to plant the seeds of things we have been growing. I brought up boundaries here because Pisces is very porous. Um, Pisces does not necessarily distinguish between any group of things. It's just the that indeterminate space. And so people with strong Pisces in their charts sometimes are really susceptible to viruses. Sometimes they just get sick a lot more, or sometimes they just feel all of the energy. Everything comes in. They can't necessarily um, easily distinguish what's theirs to carry and what's not theirs to carry. And I'm being very broad and overly general, but during Pisces season, where we're all kind of feeling that boundarylessness, this can be a really important time to maintain our boundaries and to find energetically how we want to maintain our space. So those are the themes that I think come up nicely in this month, and it can give you the potential to work with any of those, any or all of those. So let's start to look at what transits and what dates we're looking at. So I've kind of divided the month into weeks. So the first transit that I'm really interested in happens this weekend. I'm recording this on March 1st. So it happens on the 3rd, which is Sunday. Yes, which is Sunday. And that's this Venus-Uranus square. So Venus is what we love and who we love, and it's squaring Uranus, which is the desire for freedom, and the desire to liberate, that kind of thing. Venus is in the sign of Aquarius, which is about seeking the ideal structures, and Uranus is in Taurus, and Taurus is ruled by Venus. So Taurus, the sign of Taurus, is about the growing season. It's about beauty and art and stability and structure. The foundations we need to grow the next chapters of our lives happen during Taurus season. And so this square is harkens back to that idea um, of redesigning the blueprint of your life. So you're looking at those Venusian values and how they play out in the structures of every day. So this could be new ideas that support your sense of stability. It could be embodying a new plan. I also wrote luxurious rebelliousness, or luxurious rebelliousness. Uh, just the idea of Venusian energy and Tauresian energy can be luxurious, but there's just this element of like, how do you make it better? How can it be a little bit more perfect? So that's how we start the month. You're probably already kind of feeling into this energy and thinking about how it's going to show up in your life. Then on March 8th, we have Mercury meeting Neptune. So Mercury is our ideas and the way we communicate and the way we relate to people. And Mercury right now is in Pisces. So Pisces, again, is that indeterminate, ambivalent energy. And it's not always comfortable to think, to have the energy be so dispersed and so um, it's hard to land this energy. And so Mercury here is not always the most comfortable it can be. And then meeting Neptune, Neptune is all about agape love and the cosmic consciousness and taking us out of the material plane and into the ethereal realm. And so when Mercury meets Neptune in Pisces, like, this is the most boundaryless space we can find. It's about ungrounded ideas. It's about letting our imagination run wild. So that first week in March, just like think of the ideal, but don't get too caught up on the details. I would say that March 8th is probably not the day to file your taxes, because it's just not a really structured day. But that changes quickly enough. So the next week, we start off with March 9th. So March 8th, we have this nebulous mercurial energy that could feel ungrounded. And then on March 9th, Mercury moves into Aries. Mercury is the first planet to move from Pisces into Aries for us. And again, Aries is that beginner's mind, that new space. And after a month of kind of floating and free form energy, when Mercury moves into Aries, we might get the desire to plant the seeds and move forward. And I would encourage you to remember that although there might be, starting March 9th, we might feel some energy of initiation and ready to go. It can really be toned, and is best toned by that Piscean energy, that letting go and the flow. And so blending those two is really important, and not being in too big a rush to move forward. Or if you are ready to move forward, maybe doors are opening and you are ready to move forward, that you um, really do that cosmic gut check, like let yourself feel into whatever the next steps are before you jump in and make quick decisions. Also on March 9th, Mars squares Uranus, and this can be kind of hard energy. So Mars is in Aquarius, which is that sign of the ideal, like ideal structures, ideal forms, squaring Uranus in Taurus, which is about you know reform and rebellion, but around those structures of our lives. So again, this harkens back to that redesigning the blueprint of your life kind of energy. And Mars square Uranus can be a little bit reckless. So I would encourage you to just take caution and just just watch where things go, watch how things happen, and yeah, use it to maximum effect, knowing that we have some initiation and energy and some push to restructure things. Again, with those overtones of thinking about how it connects to the silo dissolving greater good. All right, and then March 10th, we have a beautiful new moon in Pisces. So again, we've got some of that Aries initiation energy going, but we're still really firmly in Pisces season. So a new moon in Pisces is one where I really invite you to lean in to lean into just that the ethereal beauty to if you're inclined to do new moon rituals, this is the moon to meditate and journal and watch your dreams. And it's not a new moon to necessarily come up with your laundry list of things you want to do. It's really just feeling deeply connecting with other people or with causes, um, connecting to the cosmic consciousness. Pay attention to your dreams, and imagine and love and let the boundaries be blurry and just see where that takes you. And I'll tell you, like, to be quite honest, this is not always the easiest energy for me. I have a lot of earth and fire in my chart. And so I tend to want to move more quickly. I tend to want things to be more concrete and more practical and more useful. But over the years, I have really worked to embrace this space of just sitting in uncertainty. In fact, I had a boss years ago tell me, in not flattering terms, that I was really uncomfortable with uncertainty, and he's absolutely right. I'm really uncomfortable with uncertainty. But as I have approached and started to work with Piscean energy, I've really been trying to hone those skills and just sit in that space where I don't know exactly what's going to happen, and that's okay. All right, so celebrate that new moon, and I do recommend paying attention to your dreams and just giving yourself some free time to just see what comes up for you in a real yin kind of way, not in a as I said, not in a I want to do these 6 things, but how do I want to feel about it, or how do I want to connect with these people, or how do I want to connect with this cause? It's that kind of energy. All right. Um, then we move to March 11th, and Venus enters Pisces. So Venus is exalted in Pisces. It is Venus's favorite place in the sky to work. So Venus in Pisces is all about agape love. It's all about that higher octave of love and of boundary breaking and of feelings and dreams and connections and breaking down silos. So as Venus goes into Pisces, we have so much energy in Pisces right now. And it's just really, again, that invitation. This is coming right off that new moon, that invitation to sit in ambivalence and to sit in uncertainty and see what comes up for you, to not try and control the narrative. Later that month, March 17th, St. Patrick's Day, the Sun meets Neptune. And again, this is all in this space of that Piscean sea, that it's like being underwater, and you can see things, but everything's fuzzy and blurry and blends together. So this could potentially be a really healing energy, but it is about the chaos and the mess, and it's not clean and structured. Don't expect to draw straight lines around this time. one of the things I wrote is some things can't be planned yet. So they will be able to be planned eventually, but it can't be planned yet. So I can just feel into that space, because we're going to shift here pretty soon. But through the 17th, I think just really embrace that Piscean blur, and enjoy. Because then on the 19th, the sun moves into Aries. And Aries, when the sun moves into Aries, we are at the spring equinox. So at the spring equinox in the northern hemisphere. Um, and it's the energy of initiation. So Aries is the beginner's mind. It's innovation. It's creativity. It's so all winter long we've been thinking about what it is we want to build and what it is we want to bring in, and the spring equinox comes and invites us to do just that, to start planting, to to start moving forward. That said, we still have a lot of energy in Pisces. So there is the invitation to go and the invitation to actually do our planting and start moving forward and really embrace that springtime energy, with the connection to the really strong connection to the luminous, and using that that chaos, that mess, to help tone our activities. So rather than just like leaping before you look, there might be a leap before you look, but there's a gut check before you leap, before you look. Does that make sense? This will be helped on March 21st when Venus meets Saturn in Pisces. So Saturn in Pisces either will help us shore up some boundaries in that Piscean creativity, in that mess, kind of give it some loose boundaries, or Saturn in Pisces can help us break down some places where we're too rigid. So Saturn's been doing this for about a year now, helping us kind of shore up things a little bit where we need to, where they're too loose, and then break down things where they're a little bit too rigid. So when Venus meets Saturn in Pisces, right after the sun moves into Aries, I think that this can be a reality check. I think that it can be a time to redefine our dreams and to really think about how it is that we really want to feel about enacting that Aries energy, enacting that springtime, beginner's mind and start to the year. It can also be about maturing and refining your vision. So you have the Piscean vision, you have the dream, and with Saturn there, it can help formalize it a little bit. It can help bring it up, bring it into the space where you can actually do something practical with that work. And the last thing I want to mention for this week is that on March 22nd, Mars enters Pisces. So Mars has been in Aquarius, which is about intellectual ideals, like enacting your will to make the ideals and the ideas come to life. When Mars moves into Pisces, it's really about giving emotional intelligence to our actions. Mars in Pisces can also be kind of a warrior for a cause, or kind of, even it was like a guru who goes out and takes action to spread the good word. I noted here it can be a cosmic gut check. So we've got a lot of Aries energy, and Aries is ruled by Mars. So the Sun and Mercury are in Aries, ready to go, ready to plant, but they're talking to this Mars in Pisces that's saying, let's see how this feels in our body. Let's see how it feels as we relate to other people, before we jump in with both feet and do this work. And then finally, the final transit I want to talk about for March is we have our first eclipse on March 25th, first eclipse of 2024 on March 25th. So eclipses happen twice a year. Usually they happen in pairs, and we don't always see them, but they happen. And there are astronomical ways that we determine if it's an eclipse or not. But Inevitably, eclipses bring change. So they let us see things in a different way. I've heard it described as like a strobe light, where the eclipse happens and the light goes off, and then when the light comes on, things have moved or things have shifted. It's not always immediate, but it has that effect. And this eclipse is happening on the Aries Libra axis. So Aries is ruled by Mars, Libra is ruled by Venus, and both of those planets are in Pisces. So while Aries and Libra is about initiation, and it's very much energy that wants to move forward, it's really being toned and refined by that Piscean emotional connection, by that Piscean messy indeterminate space. So I really think that this has the potential to be an interesting eclipse to help us move forward with with information about feelings and about the greater good, and about how whatever we want to move forward with really serves humanity and the larger purpose. So so on this full moon eclipse, I would encourage you to work through things that are emotionally complicated. Don't shy away from, I want to do this, and it's going to have this impact that I might not want. And how do I reconcile all of that? Uh, I think that sitting in the liminal space, sitting in indeterminate space, and maybe clearing that space, and not pushing forward too fast is really going to let us break through all the more quickly. April is a huge month astrologically, and so I encourage you not to push forward too far too fast without really checking in with how things are sitting in your body. So it's an exciting full moon eclipse. Full moon eclipses typically are they're called lunar eclipses, and in my experience, a lunar eclipse, something in us changes, that changes the way we interact with the world. So it usually is something that happens internally to change how we respond externally. So it's that kind of energy. And then I wanted to share, if you're interested in it, where or how this might show up for you. Here's a chart with your rising sign. So look at your rising sign, and it tells you which houses are impacted and some of the themes of those houses. So you can take a look at that. I'm not going to read through them all, but you can see sort of where it's coming up for you. This is probably like a second chapter. We had eclipses in Aries and Libra last fall, and so something may have started in October that is then continuing. This is very much dependent on what planets you've got in Aries and Libra to see where and how this might show up for you. So for some people, it's going to be more profound than others. Certainly, if you have a sun in Aries and Libra, an SUN, sun in Aries and Libra, around these eclipse points, and the eclipse is at, let's check. This eclipse is going to be at 5 degrees of Libra. So if you've got anything in the early degrees of Libra or Aries, this eclipse will probably have a really significant impact. And usually, if you've got particularly personal planets, so Sun, Moon, Mercury, Venus, Mars, in anywhere near the early signs of Aries or Libra, you can expect to have some profound transformations come out of this eclipse season, and that's always exciting, I think. Sometimes it can feel a little much, and certainly I'm always careful with eclipse energy. I don't do a lot of manifesting. I don't do a lot of I don't usually do moon water during eclipses. It's just a lot of energy, so I do treat it carefully. But if you've got placements around those places, I think there's going to be some movement, and you might see some really exciting things come of it. All right, so let's talk about your Astro Invitation for this month, for the month of March. And I am inviting you to do some energetic cleansing. So I mentioned at the beginning that Pisces energy is really porous, and sometimes people with strong Pisces energy get sick a lot because they're just, the boundary is not really tight. So this is a really good time just to get in the practice of doing some energetic cleansing, and thinking about how you might want to, how you can protect yourself, how you can make sure that you understand what's yours and you understand what's other people's, and you don't take on things that aren't yours. This is also a really good practice because Pisces season is the end of, the end of the zodiacal year, and and we need to make space for the new to begin. And so this is just a time to clear out what isn't yours, and or what's stale or old, and so that you have space to move into that Aries season and move forward. So one method for doing that is with affirmations. Affirmations are just sayings we say to ourselves. Um, I'm trying to think of the phrase, we fake it till we make it, kind of thing. You say the phrase until you really believe for yourself that it is true. So a couple ideas are to repeat, my boundaries are solid and unwavering, or I release all the energy that doesn't belong to me, or any of that kind of phraseology that helps you feel like, it helps you understand what is mine and what is someone else's, and not take on energy that is not yours. Um, Method two, I recommend doing this kind of work, doing energy cleansing work every morning and every night. So I start every morning in the shower with an affirmation to, as I'm cleansing my body, I'm cleansing and protecting my energetic field as well. I'm letting go of what isn't mine. I'm protecting what is, and I'm setting the intention for the day. Like if I have a really contentious meeting, I might set the intention to maintain strong boundaries and to not let other people pull me in or get triggered by stuff that isn't necessarily mine to trigger. Then at the end of the day, I do some breathing exercises. I breathe deeply about 3 times because three is a good number. Um, and then after I've kind of gotten myself centered with those 3 deep cleansing breaths, as I exhale, I let go of any energy that anybody has given me that isn't mine. And then as I inhale, I bring back any energy that I've put out in the world that I didn't intend to give to other people. And you do that again 3 times. Exhale, I give back energy that people have put on me that isn't mine. And inhale, I take back my energy that I have unintentionally put onto other people. Um, and it just takes a minute. It's not a long thing, but it just helps kind of make that divide, and it helps you not continue to carry things that don't belong to you. Uh, a third method for doing this is really, you can just envision putting up a structure. Sometimes when I'm going into a situation where I know there are going to be lots of people and I'm going to need to protect myself, I will actually say shields up, like sort of, like Star Trek. Uh, just like put up the boundary, and imagine putting up the boundary. You can imagine it's like a cloak you're putting on yourself. You can do this literally. Sometimes people who are really sensitive will wear hats. And if you see somebody who is sensitive to other people's energy, or really emotionally connected, and they have a hat on, that's oftentimes what they're doing. They're protecting. They're giving themselves a boundary, giving themselves protection. So that's a way to do that. Another teacher I have talks about putting some olive oil on your solar plexus, which is in the middle of your belly, and it's the center of of your your um, your ego and your concept of yourself. And so if you put a little bit of olive oil there, it just deflects. It doesn't let anybody else kind of get their hooks into you in that space. So visualizing that the structure, or actually physically like wearing a hat, can help. And then the fourth idea is, as you go throughout your day, if you find yourself kind of being pulled along, or you're like out of balance, or you're feeling like you're absorbing things that aren't yours, Dancing is a nice way. Walking is a nice way to move it, like get outside, breathe fresh air. Even just washing your hands. I had another teacher who would talk about just rubbing your hands together and shaking them off, and she would call it cleaning your tools. So just get the energy, move the energy out. Of course, you can say affirmations any time of the day. You can just say, my boundaries are solid and unwavering. Um, there's also methods like the golden car wash, and the golden car wash is just visualizing, sitting again, deep cleansing breaths, and sitting and imagining like the tendrils of a car wash, kind of brushing along your energetic field and picking up any of the dirt or grime or anything else that has been attached to you. And you just think about this energetic golden car wash moving across your body and then moving back, just cleaning off your energetic space. This is one way to do it. If you Google energetic cleansing meditations, you'll find lots of other options. And of course, you can pick anything that really resonates with you. So lots of ways to do energetic cleansing. But I think the take home is that it's a practice that's not just in Pisces season, but good to get in the habit of doing, just to maintain your space and differentiate yourself, um, so that you can get to the goals you want to get to, do the things you want to do. All right. And then finally, the herb of the month. I picked peppermint as the herb of the month. Peppermint has some really, really lovely properties, and it's super tasty. I love peppermint tea. Peppermint can do like real literal things, like it's really soothing and calming on your stomach. So if your stomach is agitated or after dinner, peppermint can be a really good, nice one to include. It can help with headaches. It can help loosen sinus congestion. More metaphysically, peppermint is really good for clearing your mind and boosting your concentration and increasing your focus, all of which are things that can be hard during Pisces season when we are trying to embrace the liminal and the indeterminate. Um, Sometimes we do need some help focusing it in. We're being pulled, maybe we're pulled too far in that direction, and peppermint can kind of help promote that focus and that intuition. So I mostly work with peppermint as tea. Love peppermint tea. Um, it's just, as I say, it's super tasty, and it has lots of good medicinal effects. You can also grow it by your door or hang it over your door, and it will help cleanse and protect as people come in and out of your house. Of course, if you're growing it by your door, remember that peppermint is a mint, and mint can kind of give it an inch, it takes a mile. So I grow my peppermint in a pot because that keeps it a little bit more contained. But if you're so inclined, putting it by your doorway or hanging a bundle by your doorway can really can serve as some of that energetic protection. Um, you can use the leaves or essential oils in eye pillows when you sleep to help clear your thoughts and promote dreams. Can really help with that kind of thing. So those are just some ways to work with it. As I say, typically I just drink peppermint tea because I like it. But yeah, peppermint's the herb of the month. I invite you to work with it on a daily basis and see what peppermint does for you and how it makes you feel. All right, with that, that's what I have for you for March. I think it should be an interesting month. Um, April is even more interesting. So I think, the more we can cleanse and the more we can release this month, the more available we'll be to bring in all of the new and interesting things that are coming for us. So with that, I'm going to close. Thanks so much for being here. Again, I'm Lisa Merrifield from Trails Edge Astrology, and I look forward to seeing you next time. Bye.